Welcome to Zoe Stories. My stepmother's deal left me in lipstick and lace. My name is Aiden Ross, and for the longest time, I believed I had complete control over my life. 22, introverted, and methodical to the point of obsession, I lived quietly in the shadow of other people's expectations. By day, I was a business student, neck-deep in spreadsheets and sleepless nights. By night, I kept a secret so tightly wrapped in shame that even I struggled to acknowledge it without guilt. You see, when no one was home, when the doors were locked and silence filled every room, I became someone else. Not in a twisted, theatrical sense. There was no audience, no spotlight. Just me, a mirror, and the soft rustle of lace. A wig hung neatly on a foam head on my closet's top shelf, its platinum blonde waves carefully brushed. Hidden away in boxes labeled old books were silky blouses, pleated skirts, pantyhose, and heels, size 10, black patent leather, 5 inches tall. It wasn't just crossdressing. It was a ritual, a craving, a secret language my body longed to speak when words failed. I didn't understand exactly why I did it, only that when I transformed, something clicked. The weight on my chest lifted. My skin buzzed with quiet electricity. In those fleeting hours, I felt real.
Whole. Free.
But no freedom is without fear. Emma didn't know. My girlfriend of 2 years, she was everything I wasn't: outgoing, confident, socially magnetic. She lit up every room she entered, and I was content to orbit around her like a shy satellite. We met in college during a finance project. She was the first person to ever really see me, or so I thought. What would she say if she ever truly saw me? I used to imagine it sometimes. Her walking in as I adjusted a garter strap, her face twisting in horror. Or worse, pity.
Disgust.
That fantasy kept me awake more nights than I care to admit. Which brings me to her, Vanessa, my stepmother. If there's a single force in my life more unpredictable than my secret, it was Vanessa Ross. She married my father 5 years ago, after his whirlwind divorce from my mom. Tall, poised, with the cold beauty of a fashion editor, Vanessa had a presence that made you want to fix your posture and watch your mouth. She worked in luxury real estate, made 6 figures, and had this unnerving ability to spot weakness, like a hawk. And somehow, she'd always had it out for me. Maybe it was because I was a reminder of Dad's past. Maybe I was just an awkward boy who didn't fit her designer aesthetic. Or maybe she just knew I was hiding something, and that made her curious. I lived in the guest house behind her estate. Not because I was broke, but because after my dad passed away last year, the house technically became hers, and she'd made it clear I had no claim to it. The guest house was part of the deal she offered. Stay out of her way, don't embarrass her, and I could finish college rent-free. Simple enough. Until last Friday. That morning, Emma left for a weekend yoga retreat in the mountains. 3 full days without her. I told her I'd use the time to study and catch up on work. She kissed me goodbye, teasing me about how boring I was. If only she knew. The moment her car disappeared down the road, my heart started to race. It had been weeks since I'd dressed. Between classes, deadlines, and constant company, I hadn't had a moment to myself.
But now?
Now I had 2.5 full days of uninterrupted privacy. I planned everything in advance: outfits, makeup, even practiced walking in heels at night with socks over them to muffle the sound on the hardwood floors. Friday afternoon, the transformation began. I shaved, exfoliated, moisturized. My fingers trembled with anticipation as I pulled the box from under my bed. The silky material of the white blouse slipped between my fingers like a secret promise. I paired it with a black satin skirt, lacy panties underneath, and sheer nude pantyhose. Finally, I reached for the wig. Sliding it on, adjusting it carefully in the mirror, I let out a breath I didn't know I'd been holding. I was me, a softer, braver, more beautiful version of me, in lipstick and lace. I applied foundation, concealer, blush, each stroke of makeup like brushing dust off a hidden self. The pink lip gloss glinted under the warm light of my vanity mirror. I practiced smiling,
Smirking.
tilting my head. The girl in the mirror flirted back, confident and alive. And then the door creaked. Not the front door. The guest house door. I froze. Every muscle in my body stiffened as heels clacked against hardwood. My heels, the ones I'd left by the bed in excitement. My pulse roared in my ears as a shadow passed the window. Then a voice, calm and amused.
Well,
That explains a lot. I turned slowly, lip gloss half finished, one earring in hand, and saw her standing in the doorway. Vanessa, arms crossed, wearing sunglasses indoors like she always did, a cruel smirk tugging at the corner of her glossed lips. I couldn't speak, couldn't breathe. She stepped forward, taking in the sight of me with calculated slowness. "I thought you were sneaking around with another woman," she said lightly. "Turns out, you are the other woman." My face burned. My knees almost gave out. She looked me up and down like she was inspecting a mannequin. "You look better in that skirt than I expected." "Impressive."
I
can explain. Don't bother." She waved her hand. "Honestly, this is much more interesting than whatever pathetic excuse you had planned." She walked to the vanity, picked up a tube of lipstick, and held it up. "Let's make a deal." My stomach dropped. "What kind of deal?" I whispered. She smiled slowly. "Oh, don't worry, sweetheart. I won't tell Emma. Or your professors. Or that cute little barista who always flirts with you when you pretend not to notice. But in return," she leaned in, placing the lipstick firmly in my hand, "you'll do exactly what I say. No questions. No refusals. If you want to keep your pretty little secret, you'll play the part." I stared at the lipstick. My reflection stared back from the mirror. Half maid, half boy, half girl, completely trapped. This wasn't a negotiation. It was the beginning of something much, much bigger. Vanessa didn't need to threaten me twice. After that first confrontation, I didn't sleep that night. I lay on my bed, still in my skirt and pantyhose, the shame clinging to my skin like humidity. I tried to change back, wipe the makeup off, bury everything, but the moment I took off the wig, the emptiness returned. Still, the thought of Vanessa telling Emma, or worse, showing her a picture, it was enough to make me nauseous. I knew Vanessa. She wasn't idle. She didn't make empty threats. She enjoyed control, and now she had mine, tightly clenched in the palm of her hand. The next morning, I received a message. 10 a.m. main house. Come dressed as yourself. The real you. No name. No emoji. Just cold precision. I stared at it for a long time, my fingers trembling as I set the phone down. My first instinct was to ignore her. Pretend it never happened. But that would be foolish and dangerous. She had leverage. All she had to do was send Emma a single text with a photo. I couldn't risk that. By 9:45, I was standing in front of my mirror, trembling. I'd never left the guest house dressed before. Never walked outside. Every instinct screamed to stop. But something else pushed me forward, fear, maybe. Or the part of me that had always secretly wished to be seen really seen. I wore a soft pink blouse, buttoned to the collar, paired with a slim white skirt that clung to my hips in a way that made me squirm. My legs were smooth and toned from the careful grooming the night before, wrapped in shimmering nude pantyhose. The heels made me almost 6 feet tall, but Vanessa had insisted, and I dared not disappoint. The final touch was a delicate gold necklace and light pink lip gloss. I kept the wig natural and down, framing my face in soft waves. I looked not perfect, not flawless, but presentable, girlish, unmistakably feminine, and terrified. The walk from the guest house to the main house was the longest of my life. Every step clicked with my heels. Every rustle of my skirt sounded like thunder in the morning breeze. My chest heaved with panic as I reached the door, hesitated, and finally knocked. Vanessa opened it instantly, as if she'd been waiting. "Well," she said, her eyes trailing from my wig down to my ankles. "At least you follow instructions." She stepped aside, and I walked in on shaking legs. The living room looked like something out of a luxury magazine. White marble floors, pale gray furniture, a grand chandelier. I felt like a trespasser in a world I didn't belong to. Vanessa sauntered in behind me, heels clicking louder than mine. "Sit," she ordered, pointing to the velvet chair in the center of the room. I obeyed. She circled me like a predator, sizing up its prey. "From now on," she said coolly, "you'll come to me like this. No half measures. No excuses. We're going to refine you, reshape you." I opened my mouth to protest, but she cut me off with a single finger held up. "This isn't up for debate, Aiden. You want your secret kept? You play by my rules." I swallowed hard. "And what exactly are your rules?" Vanessa smiled like a cat. "Today is simple," she said, walking to a side table. "You're going to help me prepare for a private showing. I have a buyer coming to view a penthouse suite. You'll be my assistant." My heart dropped. "Dress like this." She raised an eyebrow. "Darling, you'll never blend in if you keep looking so nervous." "I don't know how to act." She held up a manicured hand. "I'll teach you." And she did. For the next hour, Vanessa coached me like I was one of her clients. She corrected my posture, made me walk back and forth across the floor in heels, adjusted my wig, taught me how to smile with my eyes, how to fold my hands delicately. She gave me a new name. "Alina," she said. "It suits you better." I flinched, but she was right. Aiden didn't exist here. Not anymore. "Say it," she ordered. I hesitated, then whispered. "I'm Alina." Louder. "I'm Alina." She clapped her hands. "Good girl." The words sent a strange flutter through my chest. I didn't know if it was humiliation or something darker, something dangerously close to excitement. By the time the client arrived, a tall, serious woman in a pencil skirt and red lipstick, I had to stand behind Vanessa and smile, nod, and carry the folder of documents she gave me. My hands were trembling so badly, I could barely hold the papers. I was terrified she'd see through me, but she didn't. She looked me up and down once and smiled. "Your assistant is lovely," she told Vanessa. "She's new," Vanessa replied, "but she's learning quickly." My face burned, but my heart skipped. The showing lasted an hour. I didn't say much. Just followed, handed things over, stayed silent. But the look Vanessa gave me at the end, approving, smug, made something twist inside me. As the client left, Vanessa turned to me. "You see," she said, "you're more convincing than you think. Almost natural." I didn't know what to say. My mind was spinning. Was this blackmail or mentorship? Control or initiation? But Vanessa wasn't done. "You'll report to me every morning at 9, she said. "Dressed properly. Makeup, accessories, everything. We'll work on your walk, your tone, your presence." I opened my mouth to object. "And before you even think of complaining, I suggest you check your inbox." Later that night, when I returned to the guest house, heels in hand, skirt wrinkled, I collapsed onto my bed and checked my email. There it was. A photo attachment. Me, in full makeup, pink lips parted in surprise, eyes wide in horror. Subject line: insurance. She had taken the photo that first day. She'd held it over my head like a guillotine. I felt the tears rising, but I didn't cry. I couldn't, because deep inside, a horrible truth was growing. Part of me wanted to go back, wanted to see what came next. Vanessa didn't believe in slow transitions. The very next morning, I was summoned again. "Alina, 9 sharp, pencil skirt, red lipstick. We have work to do." That was the message. No good morning. No asking. Just instructions. And somehow I followed them. Maybe because of the photo she had over me. Or maybe because I was starting to crave the way she looked at me when I got it right. I slipped into a black pencil skirt that hugged my hips unnaturally tight. A silky white blouse with a plunging neckline. Red lipstick that stained my lips like sin. I wore a bra with small pads, just enough to give the illusion of curves, and I shaved even more carefully this time. I didn't want her to find fault. Didn't want to disappoint her. Vanessa didn't speak when I entered. She just stood in the center of her living room, arms folded, her icy blue eyes scanning me top to bottom. Then she smiled. "You're learning." That tiny praise made my heart skip. Today, she said, we're going to focus on voice, movement, and endurance. I didn't know what that meant until she dropped a pair of stilettos, 5 inches tall, in front of me. Put them on. I stared at them, horrified. I can barely walk in the ones I have. Then fall. And get back up. That's how women learn. I knew better than to argue. The heels felt like weapons. Each step made my calves scream, my balance wobble. But she made me walk back and forth across the long hallway, posture straight, chin up, smiling. Again. Slower. Now hips. Try again. Over and over. By the end of the hour, I was sweating, breathless, legs aching. But Vanessa looked satisfied. Pain is part of beauty, Alina, she whispered in my ear. You'll thank me for this someday. Then she pulled out a small box. What's that? I asked. She opened it slowly. Inside, earrings. Long, dangling crystal ones that shimmered in the light. I got these for you, she said simply. Put them on. I hesitated. They're pierced. I know. My breath caught. I've never. She tilted her head. Would you rather I call Emma instead? My heart dropped. The earrings trembled in my hand. And I nodded. Vanessa didn't flinch as she sterilized the studs and pushed the needles through each earlobe. The pain was sharp, but fleeting. You didn't cry, she murmured. Good girl. That phrase again. Good girl. It shouldn't have made my stomach flutter. It shouldn't have made me want more. But it did. The next task was a public one. Vanessa drove me downtown. I sat in the passenger seat, my legs crossed awkwardly, heart racing. I was wearing a short red dress, black tights, heels, and full makeup. I looked like someone else entirely. She parked in front of a boutique. I need a new gown, she said casually. And I want you to help me choose. As my assistant. Please, I whispered. Not like this. You'll smile, she said. Hold my purse. Speak when spoken to. And if anyone stares at you too long, I'll handle it. That last part gave me chills. Inside the boutique, everything smelled of perfume and expensive silk. The staff greeted us with warm smiles. None of them looked at me too long. Or maybe they did. But Vanessa's presence was overpowering. No one dared question her. She tried on gowns, deep blues, emerald greens, plunging backs, slits to the thigh, and she made me zip her up. Adjust her straps. Kneel at her feet to help with her shoes. My face burned each time, especially when I caught sight of myself in the mirror, this delicate, made-up creature who used to be Aiden. At one point, Vanessa stepped close. You're starting to look the part, she murmured, her breath warm against my cheek. But don't get cocky. We're just beginning. That night, she handed me a gift bag. What is this? I asked. Your uniform. I opened it slowly. Inside, lingerie. Delicate lace panties, a matching bra, a sheer robe, and thigh-high stockings. I stared at her, shocked. You expect me to wear this? Not expect, she said softly. Command. I shook my head. No. Vanessa, this is going too far. She held up her phone. The photo again. And this time, something else. A video. Me. In full outfit. Wobbling in heels. Calling myself Alina. She pressed play and let me hear my own trembling voice. Hi, I'm Alina. I froze. That's what I thought, she said. I took the bag without another word. Wearing that lingerie alone in the guest house that night was the most humiliating moment of my life. But it was also something else. It was the first time I saw myself in the mirror and didn't immediately look away. The lace hugged me in ways I didn't expect. The robe floated around me like a whisper. My figure, slim, soft, curved, wasn't perfect, but it was evolving. And when I heard the chime on my phone, another message from Vanessa, I didn't even hesitate. Picture. Now. Full outfit. Show me. My fingers shook as I posed. Just one photo. Me in a robe, biting my lip, one hand on my hip. I sent it. No response. Minutes passed. Then, finally, you're beginning to bloom. Be ready tomorrow. 8 a.m. maid training. I blinked. Maid? What was she planning now? I thought she was joking about the maid training. She wasn't. At 8 a.m. sharp, I was in the main house. She had a black satin maid dress laid out on the bed, short, cinched at the waist, with lace trim and a plunging neckline. Thigh-high stockings, a garter, and heels that I was somehow starting to walk in. No more arguments, Vanessa said, sipping her coffee. Put it on.
I did.
The moment I looked at myself in the mirror, I wanted to hide. But I also couldn't stop staring. The flared skirt, the way the garter peeked out when I bent over, the glossy lips and soft curls Vanessa styled into my hair. I didn't look like a guy in a costume anymore. I looked like a woman playing maid for her mistress. And worse, I was starting to feel like one. You'll clean, she said, walking through the house in heels that barely made a sound.
Dust. Scrub.
Do laundry. And you'll smile while doing it. I thought she meant it as humiliation. But it wasn't that simple. Every time I bent over, she was watching. Every time I passed her with a tray or a fresh towel, she gave a small approving nod. When I did something well, she smiled like I had earned a gold star. And I wanted her approval.
So badly.
Later that day, she had me serve tea.
Just like I taught you, she said.
I walked in, tray balanced, posture tall, smile demure. She had a guest, one of her stylish older friends. The woman raised an eyebrow at me, but said nothing. Vanessa made no introductions. I was just the maid. Alina, she said suddenly. Show us how you curtsy. I blinked. I don't know how. You'll learn. She stood, walked behind me, and whispered into my ear as she guided my body. Feet apart. Skirt in both hands. Lower yourself just enough to show grace, but keep your head down. Like a good girl. Like a good girl. Again. That phrase had become like a drug. I curtsied. Her friend smiled. Vanessa smiled wider. She learns fast, the woman said. She has no choice, Vanessa replied smoothly.
And I didn't.
That night, she gave me another gift. It was a small envelope. Inside, a temporary state ID, with the name Alina Carrington. My breath caught. What the hell is this? I asked. You'll need ID if you're going to work part-time at that boutique, she said, completely serious. The one we visited. You made an impression. I can't work as what? She said, tilting her head. Say it. As Alina. She stepped closer, her fingers brushing my waist. But you are Alina, aren't you? I should have said no. But I didn't. I just stood there, clutching the ID card, frozen in something that felt like surrender. The job started the next week. 3 afternoons a week, I wore soft blouses, heels, skirts. I practiced my voice. Vanessa coached me every night before bed, drilling mannerisms and femininity into my bones. She made me repeat phrases, try different perfumes, change hairstyles. Every day I wore something more delicate, more vulnerable, more me. The women at the boutique accepted me. They never asked questions. One even offered me lip gloss on break, and I used it without thinking. Customers called me Miss. And every time they did, a part of me shivered. I wasn't just playing anymore. I was becoming. One night, Vanessa walked into the guest house without knocking. I was in bed, wearing a pink satin nightgown she had chosen for me. You didn't send me your goodnight selfie, she said calmly. My heart thudded. I forgot. Alina never forgets. I picked up the phone and took the photo.
Send it.
She stared at it. Then her gaze met mine. You've changed. My voice was small. You made me. No, she whispered. I revealed you. I couldn't speak. She walked over and sat beside me on the bed. Her fingers brushed a loose curl away from my cheek. You're prettier when you're obedient, she said. I don't know who I am anymore, I confessed. She leaned closer. Then let me tell you, she whispered. You are Alina, my maid, my plaything, my creation. And if you keep being good. Her voice dropped to a murmur. Maybe I'll make you something more. I didn't sleep that night. Not because I was scared. Because I was starting to want it. All of it. It started with a dress. Not just any dress. A red satin gown with a slit up the side, backless, with built-in padding that gave me curves I didn't recognize as fake anymore. Vanessa left it on my bed with a note. Wear this tonight. Dinner's at 8. Don't be late. And wear the lipstick I like. My hands trembled as I touched the fabric. Because somewhere deep down, I wasn't pretending anymore. And that terrified me. Dinner was surreal. Candles.
Wine.
A table set for two. Vanessa wore black. Sophisticated. Full. She made me sit with perfect posture. Every movement was watched. My hand placement, how I sipped from the glass, how I responded when she said, "Smile for me, Alina." And I did. Because I knew what would happen if I didn't. "You're almost perfect," she said. "Almost," I whispered. She smirked. "Still a few bad habits. Like thinking you have a say in this." That night, I tried to take the makeup off. I stared at my face in the mirror, red lips smudged, eyes darkened with liner and shame. I scrubbed and scrubbed, but I couldn't find the boy underneath anymore. The next day, I snapped. "I can't do this anymore," I told her. She tilted her head. "You've been doing so well. I'm not your doll. I'm not your maid. I'm not Alina." Her voice was deadly calm. "Then take off the wig. Take off the makeup. Throw out the dresses.
Go.
But if you do, I'll make sure the footage of you curtsying, serving tea, calling yourself a good girl, it all gets out." I froze. "You said you'd delete those." I lied. Tears welled in my eyes. "Why are you doing this to me?" She smiled. "Because deep down you love it. You just need someone cruel enough to admit it for you." That night I drank. Alone. In full makeup. In lingerie. In heels I used to trip over, but now walked in like they were slippers. I stared at the mirror, swaying slightly. "Who are you?" asked the girl staring back. She didn't answer. But her lips, my lips, were red. And smiling. The collapse came the next morning. I was late for work. I forgot to tuck. I wore the wrong shoes. Vanessa showed up at the boutique. In front of everyone, she snapped, "Is this how you represent me?" As a sloppy little sissy. I flushed. My knees went weak. The manager looked stunned. "Ma'am." "She's mine," Vanessa said. "And she knows it." She dragged me out by the wrist. And I let her. Back home. She threw me onto the bed. "You want to be humiliated? Fine. Let's make it real." She opened her phone and played one of the videos, me twirling in a pink maid dress, saying in a falsetto voice, "Mistress, do you like when I curtsy?" My stomach dropped. She turned the screen to me. "Go on. Say it now." I shook my head, but something inside cracked. I whispered, "Mistress, do you like when I curtsy?" Louder. I choked on the words. "Mistress, do you like when I curtsy?" She leaned in, eyes wild. "Say it like you mean it." I looked at the screen. At myself. At Alina. And I said it again. This time I meant it. And she knew. She turned off the video. "You're mine," she whispered. "And soon, you won't even remember who you used to be." That night, I sat in front of the vanity she gave me. A real vanity. With drawers full of lipsticks, powders, perfumes. And I got ready. On my own. No orders. No threats. Because somewhere along the line, I had become her reflection. Her puppet. Her princess. Her Alina. And there was no going back. I don't know when the fear turned into comfort. Maybe it was the morning I woke up and didn't rush to wipe off my makeup. Or the afternoon I caught myself practicing how to sit gracefully, just in case Vanessa checked the security footage again. Or maybe it was when I looked in the mirror and saw someone beautiful. Someone who looked powerful in a soft, forbidden way. Someone who looked like they belonged in lipstick and lace. Vanessa didn't need to threaten anymore. I cooked. I cleaned. I greeted her in heels and eyeliner. She snapped her fingers. I poured her wine. She called me Alina. I answered without hesitation. I even caught myself correcting my posture, my pitch, my smile, because I wanted to be perfect for her. But I also hated her. God, I hated how she broke me. And how much I liked being broken. That's what scared me the most. One night, she took me to a dinner party. Her friends were there, polished, wealthy women who looked like they ruled the world. They all knew. They smiled when they saw me in a tight velvet dress and choker. One of them whispered, "So this is your little project?" Vanessa smiled proudly. "She's coming along beautifully, isn't she?" They all nodded. One reached out and stroked my cheek. "She's blushing. That's adorable." I couldn't breathe, but I didn't run. I stayed. Even when one of them said, "You should keep her. Girls like this, they don't survive long out there." And I nodded, like a good girl. Later that night, in the car, Vanessa looked over and said, "You've stopped pretending." I nodded slowly. "I think I have. You're mine now. Fully. Aren't you?" And for the first time, I didn't cry when I said yes. But the next morning, something changed. I woke up to a letter on the vanity. It was in my father's handwriting. He had never written to me before, not like this. "If you're reading this, it means she's done it to you too." I tried to stop her. I tried to get away. But Vanessa doesn't let go of what she breaks. She doesn't love you. She's just finishing what she started with me. My hands shook. I turned the page over. "Your name isn't Alina. You're not her doll. You're my son. Get out while you still remember who you are." The room spun. I looked at my reflection. Full face of makeup, long lashes, a silky robe slipping from my shoulders. And I felt sick. Was I still me? Was I anything? Vanessa came in holding 2 coffee mugs. "You read it." My voice was hollow. "Why didn't you tell me?" She set the mugs down. "Because it didn't matter. You already chose me." "I didn't choose this," I whispered. Her eyes softened, just for a second. "No, but you didn't resist either." She sat beside me, touched my cheek. "You think that letter saves you? That it gives you back who you were?" I didn't answer. She leaned closer. "Then take it off."
What?
"The makeup.
The dress.
The wig. The heels. Take it all off right now and walk out that door." My heart thundered. She smirked. "You can't, because it's not a costume anymore." She leaned in, her lips brushing my ear. "It's who you are now." I broke. I screamed, threw the mug across the room, ripped off the wig, clawed at my face like I could peel Alina off layer by layer. But underneath it all, she was still there. In my bones, in my voice, in my reflection. There was no escape, only surrender. Or madness. That night, I didn't speak. I wore a soft pink nightgown and curled into Vanessa's lap like a kitten. She stroked my hair and whispered lullabies.
"Good girl," she said.
"Good girl." And I cried, because I didn't know if she meant it as a reward or a curse. The next morning, I got a call. From Emma, my ex-girlfriend. The one I thought had moved on. Her voice trembled.
I know.
About Alina. My blood froze. "What do you mean?" "I saw the videos. The ones Vanessa said were just for fun." My throat closed. "Emma?"
She sent them to me.
"Said if I ever missed you, I should meet who you really are." There was silence. Then she whispered, "I want to see you. Underscore 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 underscore. The final twist wasn't the dress, wasn't the makeup. It was this. The possibility that someone might still love me as Alina. That maybe Vanessa didn't break me. Maybe she just exposed what I was too afraid to face. That I didn't want to go back. That the lipstick and lace weren't chains. They were wings. And now, I just needed to decide who I would fly to. I stood outside the cafe, hands trembling inside soft pink gloves. Emma was already inside, sipping something warm, her eyes darting toward the door every few seconds. She hadn't seen me like this before. Not in full lashes, heels, and the soft curve of my new body language. Not as Alina. I stepped through the door, and the world slowed down.
She saw me.
Our eyes locked. She smiled, but there was sadness in it, like she was seeing a ghost, or saying goodbye to someone she used to love. We didn't speak for a minute. Then Emma said, "You're really beautiful." I nearly cried, because it didn't sound like a compliment. It sounded like a eulogy. "I don't know who I am anymore," I whispered. Emma reached out, touching my hand gently. "You're still you. Somewhere. But I think she's louder now."
Who?
Alina. I swallowed hard. "Do you hate her?" Emma shook her head. "I just miss him." Silence. Then she slid something across the table. A USB drive. "What's this?" "I found something," she said quietly. "You need to see it." Back home, I plugged it into Vanessa's laptop. The screen flickered. A folder appeared. Project Alina, Final Phase. My heart stopped. Dozens of videos. Surveillance footage. Diaries. Voice recordings. Every step of my transformation cataloged like a science experiment. And in the final video, Vanessa wasn't alone. There was another woman. Sharp suit. Red lips. Cold eyes. She turned to the camera and said, "Subject AL3. NA is progressing faster than expected." Vanessa nodded. "He's already started referring to himself as Alina." "Good," the woman said. "Initiate emotional bonding next. Make her think you care. And after that?" The woman smiled. "We sell the process." Vanessa laughed. Every broken boy in the world, desperate to be pretty. They both clinked glasses. "Let's make them all dolls." I dropped the laptop. Everything shattered. Vanessa wasn't just manipulating me. She was working for someone else. A corporation? A cult? Something darker? The truth hit me like cold water. I was never special. Just test subject AL3, NA. Footsteps behind me. "Vanessa, you saw it." I didn't move. "You lied," I whispered. She didn't deny it. "I made you perfect," she said softly. "Isn't that what you wanted? You were paid to destroy me."
No.
"I was paid to reveal you." She stepped closer. "You think this was fake? That I don't love you?" I turned around, mascara streaking down my cheeks. "Was any of it real?" She hesitated, then said, "You decide," and walked away. The next day, I got a message from an unknown number. "Welcome to Phase 2. You've been selected to help perfect the next generation. We'll be in touch, Alina." Or should we say, Trainer Zero? I screamed.
But no one was there to hear me.
Only the reflection of a beautiful, broken girl, trapped in lipstick and lace.